right, so now we are going to look at all the fun stuff that goes into a strategic plan or marketing plan. Those terms will kind of be used interchangeably, but this serves as a guidebook or a written document of all the different activities that a marketing firm or a business would employ to market a product or market a service. So you saw in unit 1, I kind of did a little run through of a marketing plan for that video store. I do that on purpose because I want you to see all these components and kind of start thinking so that you see it more than once. But it looks very similar to this. You heard me say then, if you watch that video, that every marketing plan looks different. Some people's, their entire operation is their marketing plan because they serve to market their product or their company. They're not necessarily, for example, the Convention and Visitors Bureau here in Nacogdoches, their sole purpose is to market the community. They're not making products. They're not really like, you can't go in and get your hair cut. Like, they're not selling a service, but they're selling this concept of visit Nacogdoches. And so their entire operations hinge upon their marketing plan. Other companies, the marketing plan is just one little chunk of what they do because they're also developing products and trying out new products and distributing products and selling products, or providing services that take a lot of time and effort. So this just looks different, and you'll hear me say this a lot in these lectures. This looks different for every single company and every single example that we give, because it is so important just to understand that the pieces of this puzzle go together in the same way, but they look different for everybody. So you'll see we start here with a business mission statement, a situation analysis, or a SWOT analysis. Sometimes people do both, objectives. And then you have this pretty blue box. This one is in a pretty blue box for a reason. There is a target market strategy. So we have to know, remember I said our golden rule is, who is your audience? You have to know who you're talking to, who your target market is, in order to employ what we call the marketing mix. The marketing mix, also known as the 4 Ps, you will hear that discussed a lot. This will not be the first time you hear it in this class, and this will not be the first time you hear it in any of your business classes, because the 4 Ps are like the king of marketing: the product, the place, the promotion, and the price. And as we work through the textbook, you will start to see that different chapters highlight different parts of this marketing mix. So my favorite is promotion because that's what my background is, but there are others that they love pricing. They think pricing is really interesting. They love to talk about elastic pricing and how to change pricing and how that affects the bottom line, how that changes their return on different businesses' investments. Some people are really interested in where they place the product. Where does the product go? Where do you put this thing? And then some people are interested in the product itself. So developing new products, the product life cycle, all these different things. So we will break down each of these components as we go, but this all together is the marketing mix. You need all of these to be effective. And then finally, remember I said you don't want to have a marketing plan that sits on the shelf and never gets looked at. You want to implement, evaluate, and control. So we'll kind of break down each of these. First, the mission statement. This is something that you've probably talked about in lots and lots of different classes and lots of different contexts. Marketing plan is starts with knowing what your mission is, who you are as a company. So you have to look very carefully at who you are and what you're trying to say. Remember that branding map where it talks about identity and your story and all of that? This all kind of ties together. But this will help you define your firm's business and who they are. Then we go to the situation or SWOT analysis. You've looked at the SWOT analysis in Unit 1, in Chapter 1. It carries through here, so it really could go in either place if you want me to be honest. But this is so you can look at what is the situation that we're in. What do we do well? What do we not do well? It helps you scan the environment. This talks about relationships, events, different things that you can control and things that you can't control, but you kind of note everything. So a weakness may be something that has nothing to do with you. So when you do your SWOT analysis, you may say, well, one of my weaknesses is time management. So that tells you I could work on time management. That's a tangible thing for me to do. One of your weaknesses may be Financial stuff. Like I have to work to go to school. I have to work I have to work a lot of some weird hours. I work night shifts. I do all these things. I work multiple jobs. Like those are not things that you are in control of. Those are just your circumstances, but it's important to kind of put them on paper. So businesses do this as well. They may say, well, the market's fluctuating, or, oh, we have a lot of competitors entering the market. That's a threat to our business. That's one of the four things: opportunities, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So a lot of times you'll see those things in both places. So you may say that's a threat and that's a weakness. So when you put yours together for your assignment, you'll see that, oh, this is a strength and an opportunity. Cool. Like I can play off my strengths to have myself grow in new ways, or I can play off my weaknesses to expand and make myself better. So all of these things kind of go hand in hand. This are things, like I said, these are things you can control and things that you cannot control. So all of those things matter and all those things are important. Internal strengths and weaknesses should focus on organizational resources like cost of production, financial resources, your image, the capabilities of the employees, the technologies, all the things available to you. External opportunities and threats should focus on the marketing environment. So the economy, supply chains, like, are we able to get the things we need to make our product? I don't know if you know, right now there's a can shortage. So like people are having to be really creative, like small breweries and even like big name companies like Coca-Cola are having to be really creative about how they produce and distribute their product, because cans have a shortage. Well, that's an external threat that has nothing to do with them. That's just the circumstance that they're in. So all of these things pull together into this SWOT analysis. Then we talk about competitive advantage. So what is the thing that makes you unique against your other competitors? So for me, I'm a photographer. You can throw a rock and hit another photographer in Nacogdoches, Texas, anywhere really. It's become something that people enjoy. The cameras that we use, a lot of them have become very affordable, and so people are like, oh, I can learn to do photography. I can get on YouTube. I can watch a few videos and kind of learn it. I had like more formal training, so that's one way that I have a competitive advantage that makes me unique versus a lot of other photographers. And then also the service that I provide. So when you come to me, I don't make it stressful. We have fun. We don't go fast where we rush, but we go fast enough that you're not feeling like you're wasting your time. That's really important when you have kids or grumpy husbands that don't want to take pictures because they just want to be done. So I try to take that into consideration, and I think, okay, if they have a good experience with me, they'll want to come back and do more because they don't think of it as like this stressful thing, which it can be for some people. So I look at this and I say, okay, what are the things that are perceived by the target market, which is right here, the target market being my customers, as superior to the competition? Well, when we go take pictures with Amy, the kids laugh, we have fun, we play. Oh, and by the way, we take pictures. I ask funny questions, I make people giggle, we tickle, like the kids tickle each other, they play games, they do fun stuff. I have all these things that I do that helps you to not be stressed out, and the kids don't get fussy, and it's just supposed to be a really good experience. And so all of these different things can be competitive for me. My prices are my price. I am somewhat competitive in pricing, but I also price myself where it makes it worth my while. So I know what my cost of doing business is. I know how much my cameras cost. I know how much my insurance is. I know all these costs that I incur to run my business. And oh, by the way, then I need to decide what my pricing is. And so my pricing is pretty competitive with others, not everybody. Some people are in a lower price point than I am. So some people, if they're only looking at cost, they wouldn't come to me. But others, if they're not looking at cost, they're looking at skill, they're looking at editing style, they're looking at personality, they're looking at turnaround time, they're looking at all these different things that are differentiating my product and my service between the other competitors, then they may come to me. And then the same goes for niche market. So we have a photographer here in Nacogdoches, and she is a niche market photographer. She only does newborns, and she is incredible at what she does. She's amazing. And so what do? People look and they go, newborn photographer Nacogdoches. I don't have a competitive advantage there. I can do it, but she is in a niche. And a lot of times people see somebody in a niche market and they go, oh, they've specialized in this thing. They must be really good at this thing. I want to do business with them. So that is what competitive advantage is all about. So let's move on to this purple square right here, the marketing objectives. You've heard this 1 million times. Anytime you do goal setting, anytime you've talked about things that in your life, maybe you've been doing some planning or you take a leadership class and you discuss goals and setting goals and objectives. Goals have to be realistic, they have to be measurable, they have to be time specific, and they have to be compared to a benchmark. So the video store, the marketing plan for the video store, one of their goals was we want to increase return customers by an X number of percentage. I think it's 7%. I could be wrong. So they are saying, and I think it was like in the next 6 months. So they're saying, look, we want people to come back to our store, the same people. So if I can find somebody that likes these indie movies and these cool, funky movies, and I can get the same person to come back more than once, then I don't need to have a huge chunk of the market share. I can just get these same people to be really, really happy customers, and I'm good to go. And they part of their goal is I need X percentage. So there's a number there associated with it. It's measurable. We can look at it and see if it's happening or not. I need a measurable number, 7% of people returning back to rent more movies in the next 6 months. So that is something that's realistic. They didn't say, oh, I need a 100% increase. I need every single person that walks in here to come back. Nope, that's not realistic. That's impossible. Somebody will inevitably come in and think, oh, that's not for me. I'm not going to go back. I tried it once. I'm good. But they can measure it. It's time specific. In the next 6 months, they can put a time frame on it, and then they can compare it to a benchmark. So you may want to say, I need this increase 15% over the next quarter from the last quarter. However this looks is different, like I said, for each company, but that's how people set their objectives that tend to work. I'm going to move on now to the target market and the marketing mix. I talked a lot about that right here. So these are the 4 P's. So when we talk about a marketing strategy, these are all the things that come together to help us develop and maintain a marketing mix that will help mutually satisfying exchanges. What the heck does that mean? Okay, cast your mind back to when we talked about what marketing is in chapter 1. We talked about how there's this exchange that takes place, right? We care in marketing about customer benefit. What can we provide the consumers that will make them happy? So yes, this is business. We want to make a profit, or else why are we doing this? However, marketing strategies outline the activities that target a certain group of people that provide this exchange that's mutually satisfying. So for me, if I am making money and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, that's satisfying for me, the business owner. And if my customers are getting photos they love, that's satisfying for them. And we agree on a price and we take place in that exchange that we talked about. And all the things that I did to get that customer to be my customer are my marketing strategy, all the activities. So the target market strategy identifies the market segment or the segments to focus on. So for example, I know that Nike is a really big brand, right? They have lots of different products, they do lots of different things, but they often target a certain product to a certain market segment. So baseball cleats that Nike produces, those are targeted to people who play baseball, right? That seems really obvious. They're not marketing other types of shoes to those people. I mean, they might be, but when they're looking at their marketing strategy that we just talked about, it's okay, who is my target market? What is the segment that I'm going to focus on? And then you kind of build up these strategies. So you want to appeal to the entire market. You want to or you can concentrate on one market segment, or you can appeal to multiple markets. So for me, I say I want to appeal to multiple markets with multiple marketing mixes. So when we talk about the marketing mix, that means the products, the pricing, how I promote. So I may say, come, let me take your picture, rah, rah, rah. And you may have a family. Or I might say, come, let me take your picture. Yay. And you're a senior in college and you need photos taken. Those two different target audiences, but my messaging can appeal to both in a lot of context. So for me, that's what works. Other people choose to do it differently. Some people say, no, we're going to only focus on women. We're only going to focus on women who are having babies and they need newborn pictures. And we're going to be really, really specific about what we're doing and appeal to that niche market that looks different for every single person. So with that, I am going to take a little break and then we'll jump into the 4 Ps.